Then, now, maybe that is, oh,
Probation and parole, this stuff, Sir Etheridge. Yes, sir. Mhm. Oh, okay.
Fraudulent social security cards. I don't think there are.
Okay, wait, hold on. 15th. Oh, yesterday. 18th. It's got the 15th. Oh, there it's got the 18th of September 15th. I thought we'd done digressed today here. Yeah. Thank you very much. James Adams. Mr. Bell. Commonwealth versus James Adams, 21 CR 00124. Are you James Adams? Were you born in 1980? What are the last four digits of your social security number? You're here today on a plea, is that correct? On sentencing, rather. I just looked down, so I'll plea. Here on final sentencing, have you had an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation parole? Is it substantially correct? Mr. Bell, is there any reason this gentleman should not be sentenced today?
No,
Mr. Stockton,
yes,
I was looking at is this the one where there was where there was a domestic situation?
Well, Your Honor, there was a domestic, Mr. Adams' wife went to the hospital and claimed domestic violence. I met with her later, she denied everything. I spoke with the officer on this, and he wanted to tell me, please, and Mr. Adams agreed to that.
Was this the one where there was a fingernail that was pulled out? Toenail.
Of course, the victim saying one thing at the hospital and telling me another.
Yeah.
And if we have a trial, I'll have to impeach the victim.
Yeah. I just thought that was the first case I've ever had where somebody had been victimized and pulling a toenail out. Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, buddy. This is the borderline me accepting this plea or not. You know, you need to live at the foot of the cross between here and there. You not be hurting or getting around anybody. You understand that? Do you understand that? Okay. On plea of guilty to wanton endangerment, the defendant shall receive a sentence of 5 years, probated for 5 years, supervised. He shall have no violent contact with the victim. Now, what does that mean?
Well, Your Honor,
She want to reconcile with him?
I understand it's pretty soon after the incident, we got back together. And she tells me that one chicken house, we want to stay in business.
Okay,
I had a lengthy conversation.
okay, well, I want to give cover here on.
I understand, these are difficult cases.
Yeah, the defendant shall receive credit for time served. What's the court cost in this case? $240. You need some time to pay that? Yeah, you can pay that at $50 a month. First payment happening 30 days from today, okay? Just keep gainful employment. And you'll need to meet the probation and parole officer over there, okay? If you get anywhere near any domestic violence on this thing or get around this woman at all and hurt her in any way, it's going to be a bad thing for you. You understand? Okay, thank you very much. Dalton Birdwell. Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Dalton Birdwell, 22 CR 0051. Are you Dalton Birdwell? What are the last four digits of your social security number? And your year of birth? We're on a pretrial conference. What do you have to say, Mr. Stockton?
You know, we never plead pre-trial or
Okay. motion has been tendered that says you wish to enter a guilty plea. Is that correct? Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You're going to have to speak up a little bit, okay? Is this plea freely and voluntarily given? Are you the same person named in indictment number 22 CR 0051? Is your judgment impaired today? Have you had plenty of time to discuss this matter with your attorney? Are you satisfied with her advice? Have you reviewed the evidence the Commonwealth has against you? You believe you're fully informed about your case? Okay. You understand that you do not have to enter a guilty plea today. You have certain rights under the Kentucky and United States Constitution. I'm going to go over those rights today and make sure you understand them. You have the right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. The right to speedy trial by jury, the right to be represented by counsel at your jury trial, the right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses called to testify against you, the right to produce evidence, the right to call witnesses in your favor, the right to appeal this matter to higher court if you lose, and the right to require the Commonwealth to prove on a reasonable doubt if you're guilty of charge against you. You understand that by entering this plea today, you give up those rights. You understand that? You need to speak up. Okay. I may consider the Commonwealth's recommendation, but I may apply any range of sentence allowed by law. I do not have to accept the recommendation. In the event that I do not accept the Commonwealth's recommendation, decide to impose a harsher sentence, you have the right to withdraw your plea and proceed to trial. Have you previously been diverted in the last 5 years? Have you had any felonies in the past 10 years? Are you currently on probation or pretrial diversion? You understand that if you fully complete the diversion, the charges will be dismissed. You understand if you do not successfully complete the diversion, you're brought back in front of the court here, and I will schedule a sentencing hearing, and you'll be a convicted felon. You understand that? And that conviction will be used against you in the future if you have another felony conviction. You understand that? What is the Commonwealth's recommendation? Y'all move to the left here.
Plead guilty to criminal possession of force in first degree. Shall receive a sentence of 5 years, pretrial diversion 5 years, supervised, pay restitution amount $4,060. Go through the Monroe Circuit Clerk's office at the rate of $200 a month, within 30 days from into this plea. Will pay court costs of discretion of court, remain on active supervision for all restitution fines paid, maintain and retain gainful employment during the period of supervision.
Is that what you agreed to? Okay, are you agreeing to this, enter this plea because you are guilty of the acts charged in the petition in the indictment or as the indictment amended? Are you doing this of your own free will? Okay, is it knowing your constitutional rights is still your desire to allow the court to fix the penalty on this guilty plea as permitted by law? Is that your signature on the document there? I'll accept the agreement and sign the diversion. What is the court cost? $215. What are the monthly payments he's listed in there? $200 a month. Okay, so I'll add $50 a month to that on his court costs. First payment is due 30 days from today. Okay. You need to meet with the probation and parole officer over there. I'd be glad to. Hello. Would you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear or affirm that you will conduct your duties as a member of the grand jury of the Monroe Circuit Court, that you will faithfully consider all matters brought before you that protect and defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, United States of America. Keep all matters confidential that are brought before the grand jury. Okay, you may proceed. Ms. Gordon Anderson should take you down there. Thank you very much. Justin Bunch. Justin Bunch. Here he is. Let it bring it up. You had a pretrial diversion, you successfully completed, and they want to dismiss it. Okay, now, congratulations on finishing. And I believe that you can probably check with the clerk's office and they'll give you some instructions how you might get expunged sometime, okay? Okay. Go forward. Thank you. Bryson Coulter. Commonwealth versus Bryson Coulter, 22 CR 00013. You are Bryson Coulter, born in 1970. Last four digits, social security number 5256. What do you have here, Mr. Bell?
No, I believe I thought Commonwealth, we agreed to put this out to October 20,
For reasons that if we want, there's some things going on, we want, including this COVID case, I think it's stuff that those days. I want to do it next month, and next month.
So you want a conference date?
No.
Okay, your next court appearance will be October 20th. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah.
did I take one out of order judge meeting? I said actually too much.
I thought it was David Cross there for a second. Okay, you got somebody in the courtroom?
Yeah, Parker Pettit.
Parker Pettit.
Hey, they might be here, but then I got what I told them.
Yeah. Commonwealth versus Parker Pettit, 22 CR 0057. Mr. Pettit is on for arraignment. Mr. Pettit, what's your year of birth? And what's the last four digits of social security number? Okay, you have the right to remain silent. You're represented by counsel. The grand jury of Monroe County has charged you with trafficking and controlled substance in the first degree, failure to signal, disregarding a stop sign, careless driving, operating a motor vehicle while revoked, being a persistent felony offender. Do you understand those charges? You acknowledge the identity of your client, receive the indictment, waive formal reading and arraignment, and you're pleading not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions.
Yes, sir.
What's the negotiation date this month?
September 9th.
You'll be here on September 9th at 9 a.m. for negotiation. And your next court date, September the 15th, and both of them are conditions of your bond. The bailiff is giving you a copy of the pretrial compliance. I'm signing a reciprocal discovery order. Okay? You too. Gary Emberton. Commonwealth versus Gary Emberton. You have a plea in this case? Is it a felony plea or a pardon? I can't hear you. Okay. No. Commonwealth versus Gary Emberton. 22 CR 0062 yard Gary Emberton, born in 1961. 61, last four digits, social security number, what? I understand a motion has been tendered that says you wish to enter a plea of guilty. Is that correct? Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Is this plea freely and voluntarily given? Yeah. Are you the same person named in indictment number 22 CR 0062? Is your judgment impaired today in any way? You've had plenty of time to discuss this matter with your attorney, and are you satisfied with her advice? Have you reviewed the evidence which the Commonwealth has against you? You believe you're fully informed about your case? Okay, you do not have to enter a guilty plea today. You have certain rights under Kentucky and the United States Constitution. Before I can accept a plea guilty, I need to know that you understand those rights, okay? I'm gonna go down through your rights. At the end, I'm gonna ask you if you understand all of them. You have the right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. Right to speak trial by jury, the right to be represented by counsel at your jury trial. You have a right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses called to testify against you, to produce evidence, call witnesses in your favor, to appeal this matter to higher court if you lose. You have the right to require the Commonwealth to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty. Do you understand that by entering a guilty plea today, you give up all those rights? Now, I'm going to consider Commonwealth's recommendation, but I may apply any range of sentence allowed by law. I do not have to accept the recommendation. In the event that I do not accept the recommendation and decide to impose a harsher or different sentence, you have the right to withdraw your plea and proceed to trial. Do you understand that? Have you previously been diverted in the last 5 years? Have you had any felony convictions in the past 10 years? Are you currently on probation? You understand that if you fully complete the diversion program, the charge will be dismissed pre-trial diversion. You understand that? However, if you do not successfully complete the diversion program, be brought back in front of the court, I can revoke the diversion and schedule a sentencing hearing. After that sentencing, you would be a convicted felon, and harsher penalties would happen if you had other felony convictions. You understand that? You understand that? Okay, you will move to the left and let Mr. Judd come up. Mr. Judd, what is the Commonwealth's recommendation?
Commonwealth agrees to dismiss possession of controlled substance, not conditional and dismiss failure to stick. And all plead guilty to operating a motor vehicle with alcohol concentration on or above 0.08 or while in the influence of alcohol or substances. The defendant will serve 7 days in jail and pay a fine of $300 per fault. On a plea of trafficking controlled substance, first degree, the defendant shall receive a sentence of 5 years or 30 days on home incarceration with a violence by the verdict of 5 years supervised. Defendants will be referred to the social service commission and allow and recommend to follow the recommendations of the commission. The defendant should forfeit $1,071 for felony Kentucky and disbursements for the plea. The defendant should receive credit time served. The defendant should pay a fine for cost of correction court. The defendant should remain on active supervision to all rescues and fines paid for. The defendant should obtain gainful employment or do a minimum of 30 hours per week community service before gainful employment is paid. The defendant agrees to have any non-contraband drug paraphernalia, fraud, social security card disposed of according to the law of Commonwealth. Okay. Now, this pretrial come back over here. Pretrial diversion obviously doesn't apply to the DUI. That's a separate plea. Okay, and the DUI could be enhanced. You have a DUI plea here, do you? Is that correct? Okay. So the DUI is enhanceable too. If you get another DUI, it'll be more serious penalty. You understand that? Okay, now the pretrial diversion portion of it could be dismissed if you successfully complete that. But if you don't, as I told you earlier, successfully completed, that could be used against you in a felony conviction. You understand that? Okay, you're entering this plea of your own free will because you are guilty. No, is that right? Okay, well, knowing your constitutional rights, as I previously explained to you, is it still your desire to go ahead and let the court fix your punishment? Okay, is that your signature? Okay, I'll accept the diversion agreement. What's the court cost in this thing? That's all together? $990, your total amount that you owe on fines and costs and things. You need some time to pay that. Okay, I'll allow you to pay it $50 a month. Your first payment is done in 30 days. You do 30 days from today, okay? Okay, you need to meet with the probation and parole officer over there. Thank you.
Eric Graves. Commonwealth Kentucky versus Eric Graves, 20 CR 0044. Are you Eric Graves? You born in 2002. Last four digits, social security number 8379. Okay, it says for review. What do you have?
Your Honor, this is our motion to revoke, and in lieu of that, he was given a 90-day sanction. My understanding, he just got out of jail in the last week, 10 days.
He has, and it was reviewed to see if he's had a chain employment. If you get a chain employment, Your Honor, he has a chain employment at Dollar General Warehouse that he just a man worked at. I'm advised that he needs to go about that 6 weeks probation officer, he needs to her. He has a chain employment.
Mr. Collins, are you all right with this man? Is he okay?
If you work, Your Honor, good.
Well, you got a choice. You can work or be in jail. Pretty good incentive, isn't it? You know, you want to stop and talk to Mr. Collins just for a second on the way out? Okay. Keith Gross.
It's our motion, yeah. I mean,
Your Honor, I think it was a case that was a little bit of age to it, was previously conflicted to another public defender's office. The attorney that was handling that is no longer with that office. So I asked if we could take him on versus temper so that they can do that case. Brad Gordon, who's no longer with you.
He's not been before the court in quite some amount of time. It's been several months. So,
How long? She Scotted for a while.
February 17th was the last time.
Well, I'll notice that there needs to be new counsel, but there's no reason to have counsel here if he's not here. So I'll go ahead and revoke the bond,
Actually,
forfeit the bond. I'll go ahead and forfeit the bond. Now you need him to come back in. You have a active warrant out for him. Okay, that'll be fine. Lauren Hagan. Says active warrant out. Is Lauren Hagan here?
No, Your Honor, she.
Probation revocation on Lauren Hogan.
I thought I got something from Mr. Hill in there too about it. No.
I didn't see the motion, but I saw it was added on the docket later that he had filed a motion to withdraw. What did they have?
Denied.
Wait, she's already.
Okay, DeMarcus Hamilton.
This one's a little common.
He's not here.
No, he hasn't been for some time.
Okay,
And there's about 3 or 4 things I do when people don't show up to court. One is put them in NCI. So the other thing is I check to see if they make bond and then see what's happened with them. In this case, in 21 CR 19, in the district court case 20F92, he was charged with trafficking. He made a surety bond in the amount of $5,000 was set, and that was signed by Lanky Graves. On April 15th of 2021, the district court case was presented to the grand jury. He was indicted on those charges along with the PFO. The indictment warrant was issued. He was arraigned. The pretrial conference was scheduled. He failed to appear before the court. Commonwealth learned the indictment warrant was not executed. For whatever reason, he appeared in court, but he was never executed. Yet the defendant was out on an unsigned $20,000 surety bond. with the following conditions, pre-trial monitoring, home incarceration. My question is, since that indictment warrant was never executed, can we levy on the district court bond? If that's the only bond that's ever been made, it's either the district court or so. And last time I heard from him, he appeared by Zoom meeting the rehab and Lexington. And I think he's still in Lexington, but I didn't do that. But it's one of these with COVID, it fell through the cracks. I don't know what happened, why he was.
Well, I think the best thing we can do out of abundance of caution is just wait till you capture him. What he did is probably came to court and we didn't realize that he hadn't been processed. Probably what you think it's probably. Yeah.
That's what it was. He was in Lexington with rehab. He didn't turn himself in.
We'll remember that when they pick him up. So, okay. Tiffany Hitson.
Okay, she's in Webster County. Much for so 7.9.
Okay, well, let's set her on the docket next month. September 15th, is that correct? Okay. Is the name incorrect on the indictment? Does it need to be amended? AKA. Okay. Okay, we'll sit here on September the 15th. September 20th. I got it wrong here. Okay. To make note of that. That was right. I'm a date and she was, that's the first time it happened in 11 years. So.
October.
Yeah, okay. You don't have to explain. Just let me claim this right now. Own being right. I'll just own it. James Mercer. This is active warrant. Jeffrey Miller. Okay. Joshua Perry. Commonwealth versus Joshua Perry. 22 CR 0033. Are you Joshua Perry?
Yes, sir.
Born in 1991.
Yes, sir.
Last four digits, social security number 5880.
Yes, sir.
You're here on a pretrial conference. What do you have? A motion's been tendered, Mr. Perry, that says you wish to enter a plea. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Is this plea freely and voluntarily given?
Sir.
Are you the same person named in indictment number 22 CR 0033?
Yes, sir.
Is your judgment impaired today in any way?
No, sir.
Have you discussed these charges with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with her advice?
Yes, sir.
Have you reviewed the evidence the Commonwealth has against you and you believe you're fully informed about your case?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you do not have to enter a guilty plea today. You have certain rights under the Kentucky and United States Constitution. I'm going to go over these rights and then after I read them, I'm going to ask you if you understand all of them, okay? You have a right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. You have a right to speak trial. The jury right to be representing counsel at your jury trial. You have a right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses called testify against you. You have a right to produce evidence, a right to call witnesses in your favor, and have process issued, compel their attendance. You have a right to appeal this matter to higher court if you lose, and a right to require the Commonwealth to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of charges against you. You understand by entering this plea today, give up those rights. Now, I may consider the Commonwealth's recommendation, but I may apply any range of sentence provided by law. I do not have to accept the recommendation. In the event that I do not accept the recommendation and decide that I impose a harsher sentence, you have the right to withdraw your plea of guilty and proceed to trial. Have you previously been diverted in the last 5 years? Have you had any felony convictions in the last 10 years? Are you currently on probation? Do you understand if you fully complete the diversion program, the charges will be dismissed pre-trial diverted, you can have them expunged? You understand that? You understand if you do not fully complete the diversion program, you'll be brought back in front of the court and I'll schedule a sentencing revoking the pre-trial diversion to be a convicted felon that can be used against you in subsequent felony convictions to enhance your sentence. You understand that? Will you move to the left here and let Mr. Judd tell us what the Commonwealth's recommendation is?
Please come with agrees to dismiss public intoxication and disorderly conduct and the men assault in the third degree, 2 wanton endangerment in the first degree. All plead guilty, wanton endangerment first degree, the defendant shall receive a sentence of 5 years. One plead guilty, the plea when awaiting police first degree on foot, the defendant receives 5 years. The 2 5-year sentences shall run as concurrently for a total of 5 years pre-trial verdict and to be supervised. The defense shall enter and complete social service donation. The defense shall pay fine court costs discretion court. The defendant shall remain on active supervision until all restitution, fine and costs are paid in full. The defendant shall obtain gainful employment or do a minimum of 30 hours a week until gainful employment. The defendant agrees to have any and all contraband, drug paraphernalia, fraud, social security cards disposed of according to the laws of the Commonwealth.
Are you pleading guilty because you did commit acts in the indictment or as amended?
Yes, sir.
Hey, could you explain this one to me, Mr. Stockton, a little bit?
This. We could settle the offer in this case, if we did whatever the Commonwealth attorney wanted to do on this. Even though we can second round, we put money in.
Originally charged as assault on a police officer.
It was. They got a call from dispatch, Mr. Curry, the defendant was testing extremely officer. After being told to stop, he was placed under arrest.
Mhm.
He took off into the back of the house, using as the officer in. When the officer entered the home, the party started hitting him several times, causing him bruising pain. Curry was paid, strung over about alcohol, he said he'd been drinking. We always asked the officers what they wanted to do, just to provide protection. So he said that whatever the Commonwealth wanted to do.
Okay. Well, I will accept the plea and sign the diversion orders. And what are the court costs in this case? $240. You're gonna need some time to pay that. Yeah, I'll let you pay that at $30 a month, first payment starting there. I'm glad you weren't killed. You know, when you get in these situations and you're liquored up, that sort of thing, these police officers come around and you head back into a house. They don't know what you're going in there for. And it could have ended a lot worse. And it sounds like the officer is willing to give you a break too, which is a good thing. So, you know, you need to make sure you do this correctly. Is that your signature on the document?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll accept the diversion program. And you need to talk to probation parole officer over there, okay? Yeah, you can take a monitor off of it. See if there's any place else I need to sign that one. Terrain Portia.
Leave the warrant. Sorry, just make him go.
He's in Barron County Jail.
Not worried about this.
Sure.
Yeah. Jeannie Ramos. Commonwealth versus Jeannie Ramos, 22 CR 0041. Are you Jeannie Ramos? Born in 1978. Last four digits, your social security number 5570. We're here for a pretrial conference. What do you have, Mr. Stockton?
Mr. Garrett's going after.
And I'll get that for Dr. Sibley, I'll turn it over to you.
You're gonna do what now?
I'll get that to you.
You're gonna get what to me?
An order for conference.
Okay, what are you what are you basing that on?
She had a stroke. So, she had several strokes in 19, Judge. She's been going back and forth to the doctors. Has probably come to the
Well, what's the charge here?
possession.
Couldn't prosecute anybody.
The disability is due to the stroke.
Yeah, I guess over on the, wanting back.
And I don't guess she ought to be driving, then, should she?
She got right on. The judge originally-
Somebody driving her today?
She didn't drive.
I wonder, is your license been free trial suspended?
She's a person. Judge, originally, she had a unrelated case in Allen County. They had already set up a competency evaluation through the BVA, but when I took over, that funds were no longer available for that. But the attorney down there also found that she needed a competency evaluation and filed for that. They had already set up the process for her to get evaluated, but we're gonna have to do it here as well.
Well, the problem that I've got, if she's got a competency problem and she's had a DUI and a wanton endangerment stuff, and she's out operating a vehicle,
Already on there.
that she not operate, because she's in custody then. She drove over here.
It was all the people without you.
Pull the bond out here. No driving, it says. Subject to random drug and alcohol. What do you say, Mr. Stockton?
If you don't place her in custody, somebody needs to get her home and get her vehicle.
Do you have somebody that can come over and pick you up and pick your vehicle up and drive it home? Okay, well, you call them. You can stay here in the courtroom. You step outside the courtroom, you call them to come get you. I don't want to put you in a Barron County jail just in case you do have some issues right now. But I don't want you driving. It's part of your bond. Okay, now as far as the evaluation is concerned, when are you gonna get the evaluation done?
Immediately, Judge. I mean, I'll-
And who's gonna do it?
The only person we could possibly do is Dr. Sidley. And we'll do that the same way that I did through Julia.
Are you wanting, you want KCPC to do one remote on it?
I may, but I'll, if he finds her confident, I won't, if he finds her incompetent, I make a report, make a decision. I'll draft an order.
Okay, she'll be back here on September the 15th.
You need to realize that they've been, driving all through, she's kind of incompetent. You still lose your license.
You understand that? You need to talk to your attorney about it. So I want you got your car keys with you? Where are your car keys? Where? Take your car keys and give them to the bailiff. Okay. Okay, and the bailiff will give the car keys to whoever come over and get you. I'm not gonna send you to jail, okay? Okay. Okay. Jason Roca. Sure. Jason Roca, it says Mr. Bell.
Mr. Bell forgot, Mr. Roker didn't appear, and then we had to review. He was to stay off the marijuana, and we gave him 2 weekends to serve in jail. I don't know if you can buy it. I'm not sure on that.
We'll come back. Dylan Russell.
I'm not surprised he's not here because I think the lady wants to go off his bond thing. I think it's Wednesday.
Are you Dylan Russell? It's a good day not to be Dylan Russell. Do what? It says he has COVID. Who faxes to us? Says Mr. Discharge instruction for Dylan Russell. And it's got, I won't go into the other detail out of respect to his privacy. What, you want to see this? It's a letter from Monroe County Medical Center, y'all. Have you seen it?
Yeah, Ricky saying he's not here.
Look what it tells. I'm telling you. Go around the corner and lay it on the thing.
Yes, he needs to be back here next month with these bonds, if she wants to go off the bond.
Yeah, well, we can't take her off the bond until he is here,
That's
so
correct.
she's not at risk, I guess, any more than she was before it started.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll reschedule him for September the 15th. David White. Commonwealth versus David White, 22 CR 0045, 22 CR 0046, 22 CR 0047. You're here for sentencing. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Having an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation parole.
Yes, sir.
Is it substantially correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there any reason this gentleman should not be sentenced today, Counselor? On a plea of guilty and indictment number 22 CR 0045 for possession of a controlled substance, he shall receive first degree, he should receive a sentence of 2 years. On plea of guilty indictment 22 CR 0046, charge of possession of controlled substance first, he shall receive a sentence of 2 years. On plea of guilty Now, number 22 CR 0047, charge of possession, then it shall receive 2 years. The 2 years shall run consecutively, total of 6 years, probated for 5 years, supervised. He shall enter and complete the drug court. Is he in the drug court yet?
No, Your Honor, according to me, he contacted the jail after I was first, Mr. White, please. He had been able to contact Mr. White, so I just told Mr. Collins, we need to make sure Mr. White gets with us tonight.
You need to immediately check on that today to see when you can come in. You have $38 and AT&T flip phone should be released to you. You got a flip phone? Well, you need to keep it. I haven't seen one in a while. They're getting to be very rare. The fine in court cost her how much?
340.
240. Do you need some time to pay that? You pay $30 a month. Your first payment starting 30 days from today. Okay. You need to meet with the probation parole officer over there and line up the drug court. Okay. Is that it on the in-person, Doc?
Well, I want to report on the date of enough to be in compliance.
Okay. In compliance. Okay, is there anyone else here that's supposed to be on the live docket? Okay, we're in recess until 10:30 then. We go on the Barron County Zoom.
Bring up one thing, we do have Mr. Chad Eisenberg on Zoom, he's in rehab. I had him listed in Barron County Jail, I didn't know. I was alerted by Barron County Jail that he was.
Okay, well, we pull him up. Who represents him? Where is she?
And get on that to go talk about.
There's Miss Hill.
Who is the person?
Chad Eisenberg.
Chad Eisenberg evidently is in a rehab, Miss Hill. We thought he was in jail somewhere. Third, Commonwealth, Chad Eisenberg, will you turn the Zoom on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commonwealth versus Chad Eisenberg, 22 CR 0040. It says for sentencing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you had an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation and parole?
Yes, sir.
Is it substantially correct?
Yes.
Is there any reason why this gentleman should not be sentenced today?
No, Your Honor.
On a plea of guilty to operating a motor vehicle with alcohol concentration of 0.08 or while under the influence, he shall aggravating circumstance, he receives 7 days in jail and pay a $300 fine plus cost. On the plea of assault 3rd degree, he shall be sentenced to 5 years. On possession of controlled substance, 1st degree, he shall receive a sentence of 3 years. The 5-year sentence and 3-year sentence shall run concurrently for a total of 5 years. The defendant is currently incarcerated and shall have credit for time served. Are you out of incarceration and into rehab now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The defendant shall enter and complete a long-term facility through the DPA's office. Ms. Hill, is that where he's at in a long-term rehab?
Yes, Your Honor. It was arranged by us.
Okay, he shall be released from incarceration at final sentencing or whenever the bid date is up, which evidently that's how he got here. What are the court costs in this case? The court costs are $645.50. I'll allow you to make your pay that at $30 a month. It's your first payment 30 days from today. Of course, you realize that when you plead guilty to the DUI, it could be enhanced if you get another one. You understand that, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and these other charges also could enhance. How I guess you need to report to probation and parole. Where will that need to be?
Franklin,
What rehab are you in?
at Hope Haven, Franklin.
We'll get you transferred up there.
Okay, we'll transfer you over there and will the probation parole officer come call on you?
Yes.
Okay, the probation parole officer will come call on you.
Okay,
Okay, there, and you cannot leave that facility. It's part of the deal. If you leave that facility, it'd be a violation of your probation. You understand that?
yes, sir.
Okay, they'll be over to see you. Thank you a lot.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. That was Chad Eisenberg. Okay, we'll go in recess here. We have another one that we need to take before we go off for a minute. Okay, well, Chad, we're finished with you. You can turn your camera off there, and we will be in recess until 10:30 when we go back online to start down through the Barron County docket. Thank you very much.
I don't know what's appealable about it. I guess Daisy straightened him out when they told him he could go to jail.
Nobody, we all of the.
Okay, we'll start the Barron County docket. If you have Ashley Turner there and available, Barron County.
Candace,
Hey, Corey,
Laura.
Yeah, just come over here and use my.
just sit right here. He'll take care of you.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
Commonwealth versus Ashley Turner.
You can turn it up now.
This is 22 CR 0003. Are you Ashley Turner?
Yes, sir.
You're here on a pretrial conference, got a special prosecutor here. What do we have going on in this case?
Judge, we have a resolution in the case.
Okay, you have a felony plea, pretrial diversion, what do you have?
It's an amendment to a misdemeanor and conditionally discharged on certain conditions.
She entered a misdemeanor plea?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, it's Commonwealth versus Ashley Turner. Ms. Turner, a motion has been made or announced here that you wish to enter a plea. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
This is plea freely and voluntarily given.
Yes, sir.
The plea freely and voluntarily given.
Yes, sir.
Are you the same person named in 22 CR 003 Monroe Circuit Court?
Yes, sir.
Is your judgment impaired today in any way?
No, sir.
Have you discussed these charges with your attorney? Are you satisfied with her advice?
Yes, sir.
You believe you're fully informed about your case?
Yes, sir.
You have certain rights under the Kentucky and United States Constitution. Before I can take any plea, I need to know that you understand those rights.
Yes, sir.
You have the right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. Okay, pretrial, Ms. Savage, will you turn your camera off? Well,
You said I'm here, Judge.
yeah, turn your camera off and just stay monitored, okay? That'd be
Okay.
good. Okay, thank you so much. You have the right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. You have a right to speed trial, but jury right to be represented by counsel at jury trial, the right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses, right to fix evidence, the right to call witnesses in your favor, the right to appeal this matter to higher court if you lose, and the right to require the Commonwealth to prove on a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of the charge against you. You understand by entering a plea that you give up those rights. I may consider the Commonwealth's recommendation, or I may reject it and impose a harsher sentence. If I impose a harsher sentence and your agreement calls for, you have a right to withdraw your plea and proceed to trial. What is the Commonwealth's recommendation in this case?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth recommendation is 12 months, $500 fine, conditionally discharged for a period of 2 years. We do have conditions. Did the court want me to go ahead and go into the
You have a
conditions?
you have a signed agreement on this?
Yes,
Okay.
Ms. Hunter's got a signed.
Ms. Hunter, you hold the agreement up to the, is that your signature, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, counsel, go ahead and read the conditions that you have, so we'll have them in the record and let her acknowledge them. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor. The conditions are no illegal activity, no alcohol or illegal drugs. And the third condition is that she's to seek an assessment of counseling through life skills, and she'll file the assessment with the court, and she's to file a certificate of completion once the counseling is completed.
is that what you agreed to, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the court cost in this case? $165 court cost. You need some time to pay that.
Yes, please.
Okay, you can make it $30 a month, first payment being done 30 days from today. It's a misdemeanor plea. So I can go ahead. Is the misdemeanor judgment been completed yet?
Judge, you asking me that? You asking me that
Has anybody
question?
drafted a judgment in
No, Your Honor.
it? Commonwealth usually does that. Maybe Mr. Stockton's staff can help you draft the misdemeanor judgment. Did you do that, Mr. Stockton? You still in the room?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and sign
He
that.
says yes, Judge.
Okay, we'll go ahead and sign that today. And now that we've accepted it, okay, and I guess once I sign that, there's no barrier to her being released today. Is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
Judge, she's in on something else, though, I believe.
You being held on something else?
I had 10 days, but I've been done my days.
Was that on another charge?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll sign the documents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
You have an offer or something, she go by.
I've got a copy right here.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, Isaac Atkinson. Isaac Atkinson, sentencing.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry, I didn't know we don't do judgments over there. The judge.
Oh, circuits is different. We had to.
Cromwell versus Isaac Atkinson. Are you Mr. Atkinson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're here today for sentencing in 21 CR 00125. You born in 2003?
Yes, sir.
What are the last four digits of your social security number?
I've been learning, Your Honor. I almost got it. I'm not quite sure, but I've been learning. I've been practicing.
Okay, lower your mask. I can't hear you.
I said, I've been practicing. I don't quite remember, but I've been practicing. I almost got it. I know the middle is 9-5.
Is it 2418?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're here today for sentencing. Have you had opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation and parole?
Yes, sir.
Is it substantially correct?
Yes, sir.
Counselor, is there any reason your client should not be sentenced today here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Upon a plea of guilty to burglary second, he shall receive a sentence of 10 years on theft by unlawful taking. Over 1,000, he shall receive 5 years. The 10 and 5-year sentences shall run concurrently for a total of 10 years. The defendant shall pay restitution in Monroe Circuit Court in the amount of $1,500, $150 per month, with the first payment due 45 days from release, subject to 5% fee. The 3 cell phones shall be released to their respective owners. The 22 pistols shall be forfeited. The court costs are how much? $216. So I'll add $30 a month to the $150 that you're going to be paying. And that'll do your court cost. You are to meet the other requirements here. So you're going to be supervised. When can probation and parole meet this gentleman? Is he in on any other charges?
Not that we're aware of, Your Honor. Be tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Glasgow office.
So he can be. So I'll sign a release for him today. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fine with me. He just needs to report tomorrow at 8:30 Glasgow office, probation parole.
Can you be at the 8:30 in the morning at the Glasgow probation parole office, and I'm going to go ahead and release you today. And you live at the foot of the cross tonight, and don't get anything between now and then. It won't help you. Violate right off. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Jackie Bowles. Jackie Bowles. Commonwealth versus Jackie Bowles, 22 CR 0056. Are you Jackie Bowles?
Yes, Your Honor.
You born in 1958?
Yes, Your Honor.
What are the last 4 digits of your social security number? 0557?
Yeah.
Okay. Now they're here for a pretrial conference. What do you have to say, Counselor?
Your Honor, we have an agreement, me and Mr. Stockton, to continue this to the next pretrial conference and negotiation dates.
The next negotiation date is September the 9th, and the next court date is September the 15th. What is it? What is this charge here?
He's charged with trafficking, Your Honor. It's alleged he had 32 grams of meth, him and his co-defendant. So I'd ask for a bond here and refuse to be released.
Well, he's not going, there's not one scheduled, so we'll see him on that date, okay? Thank you very much. David Bridges, or David Brides, rather, David Brides. Bridges with a G's left out on the docket. David Bridges. Commonwealth versus David Bridges, 22 CR 0064. You David Bridges.
Yes, sir.
You're here today for the purpose of arraignment. You have a right to remain silent. Are you represented by counsel? Do you have an attorney?
Did it in small court, I think so.
Had public advocacy?
Not yet, not in big court.
Office of Public Advocacy represents you there?
Your Honor, I believe we represented him in district court.
Okay, that was in small court, it said. Oh, Judge Christie called it small court. Okay, the grand jury of Monroe County has charged you with burglary in the 3rd degree, criminal mischief in the 1st degree, and being a persistent felony offender on those. Counselor, we're going to lay that on your desk here. You acknowledge the identity of your client, receipt indictment, await formal reading and arraignment, enter plea not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll set this for negotiations at 9 a.m. on September 9th. Next court date, September 15th. What's the bond situation here, Mr. Stockton, you know?
Should be relatively high based on likelihood to reoffend and the nature of the crime. I don't know what
Pre-trial,
it
will
said.
you turn your camera back on?
Let's say something about the bond.
Wait, let me see what it is for sure, sir. What is the bond here?
It's 10,000 cash.
Okay. Counselor, could pretrial tell me something about this situation, why it's set at 10,000?
Judge, his risk scores were moderate across the board, and I'm not sure if it had anything to do with the pending Barron County case. It was.
Yeah, does he have any FTAs?
Yes, he is showing some FTAs. Looks like there was an FTA on 22F 289 out of Barron County. So that may be the reason why.
Yeah. Mr. Stockton, you opposed any bond reduction without a hearing?
I do, Your Honor, based on Mr. Bridges' criminal history.
Okay. Well, Counselor, you want to schedule a bond hearing on that for him?
Your Honor, if I could meet with Mr. Bridges and speak with him first, if we need to schedule a bond hearing, then I will file a motion on it.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Can I say
Next
something about
case.
the bond? Can I say,
You want to? Yeah.
I'm not trying to make a bond. I just need, like, for the judge, you got to sign up so I can go to rehab. I was going to rehab the day I got arrested. And I took care of the Barron County case. It's been, and I got 2 years supervised probation on conditions that I go to rehab. And that's what I'm waiting on, is to try to go to rehab. You know, I'm not trying to get out or anything. I just need to go to rehab and take care of my problem.
Okay, well, let me, your attorney will come over and talk with you and then get with the Commonwealth attorney. They'll keep that in mind. And you're scheduled for the conference day on September 9th. If there's any agreement before then and they can agree to a rehab or something based upon that other charge, I'll be glad to consider that, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Matthew Burkhead. Commonwealth First is Matthew Burke. Are you Matthew Burke? Are you Matthew Burkhead?
Yes, sir.
This is 21 CR 00110. You're here today for sentencing. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Have you had an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation and parole?
Yes, sir.
Counselor, is it substantially correct?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any reason this gentleman should not be sentenced?
None that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Okay, upon a plea of guilty to possession of firearm by a convicted felon, you shall receive a sentence of 5 years. Upon a plea of guilty of possession of firearm by convicted felon, you shall, the second charge, you receive a sentence of 10 years. The 10-year sentence shall run concurrently for a total of 10 years. Serve 180 days, balance probated for 5 years. The defendant shall enter and complete a long-term drug treatment facility. Agrees to forfeit all firearms seized. What are the court costs? $240 court costs. You need some time to pay that?
Yeah.
I'll let you pay it $30 a month.
Yeah,
30 days from today, okay?
I don't wish to forfeit them guns. I know it's in my,
Matthew, hold on a second. I spoke to Mr. Stockton about that this morning. If your stepdad provides documentation to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office about those firearms, then
yeah.
Mr. Stockton will speak to law enforcement.
I mean, they've already,
Okay.
the guns already come back in his name and everything. And they've come back clear.
Wait just a second. I've got a convicted felon that's got 2 charges of guns, and he wants to argue with me about these.
No, I'm not
guns.
arguing. I'm just,
Well, I mean, I'm not asking you to answer this question, but what was this man doing with the guns? I don't care whose name a gun is in. They could be in Santa
I was
Claus's
just there,
name,
sir.
but you have the gun.
I'm.
Did you have the
something I ain't-
guns? Did
No,
you
sir.
have the guns?
No, sir. I'm pleading guilty to something I'm innocent to keep it 100.
Okay, well, that ends that then. So I will stop this plea negotiation, and I'm not going to sentence him then, and we'll schedule him on the next court date, September 15th. He's withdrawn his plea.
What?
Okay, the next case is Christopher Caraway.
Y'all be quiet.
Commonwealth versus Christopher Caraway, 22 CR 0042. Mr. Caraway, you're here for the purpose of arraignment. You understand that? You have the right to remain silent. You have an attorney present. Office of Public Advocacy represents you. Is that correct? Did they the Public Defender's Office represent you in district court?
They did.
Okay. The grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment charging you with public intoxication, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, and trafficking and controlled substance first degree. You understand those charges?
I do, yes, sir.
Okay. Counselor, you acknowledge the receipt of the indictment. We're laying on your desk. The identity of your client, waive formal reading and arraignment, enter plea of not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions.
Yes,
Is
Your
that
Honor.
correct? Okay. There'll be a negotiation day on September the 9th, and the next court date will be September 15th.
What about my bond, sir?
What is his bond here?
Right now, it's
Pretrial?
His bond is 15,000 surety with pretrial monitoring and 24-hour curfew along
Yeah,
with.
you have anybody, it's just a $15,000 surety bond. Most people can make that. It's clerk approved. Sir, do you have nobody that can make that bond?
He's from Tennessee, Your Honor, and we had to put him in NCIC. That's probably the reason he can't make.
15,000 cash? Is it $15,000 cash?
15,000 surety.
And so he's got nobody that can make the surety bond probably because he's a Tennessee resident. Is that correct, sir?
Well, they picked me up in Tennessee, yes, sir. I'm actually a Kentucky resident, but yeah, my family and stuff is in Tennessee.
And you'll have to find somebody from Kentucky that will enter a bond for you. And you were in NCIC, so I'm probably gonna, how long have you been in NCIC, Mr. Stockton?
He wasn't in very long before we picked him up. It was July, I think, we put him in.
Okay. Well, I'll leave the bond the way it is, give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay. James Carter.
The office down there.
Can you hand me that file over?
There you go, one. That's it.
Commonwealth versus James Carter, 22 CR 0031. You are James Carter. And you were born in 1989, last four digits of your social security number 5617.
Yes, sir.
We're here on a motion for judgment of acquittal and a motion set for a new trial. Counselor, you want to be heard?
Your Honor, we're standing on the motion.
Well, that's good. Then I'll deny the motion unless you want to be heard. If you don't want to argue the motion for the record, I think you probably should. Mr. Stockton, you have any response to the motion?
I would say that I received the motion. I read the Baker case, and Baker basically stands for the fact that there's an unavailable witness where the defense doesn't have an opportunity to cross-examine, then these statements should be stricken for hearsay. But since all the officers were available, testified for cross-examination, the CI was available, testified for cross-examination, I don't think Baker stands for the proposition of overturning the conviction in this case.
That's what I found at the trial, that it was not hearsay because individuals were available for cross-examination. So I'll deny the motion for judgment of acquittal and a motion for new trial. Okay, thank you very much. Kimberly Chilton. For sentencing.
Your Honor, Lee Davis for Ms. Chilton.
Okay. Are you Kimberly Chilton?
Yes, sir.
What's your year of birth, ma'am?
1990,
Last four digits of your social security number.
7598.
You're here today for sentencing. Have you had an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation and parole?
Yes, sir.
Is it substantially correct?
Yes, sir.
Counselor, is there any reason why this lady should not be sentenced today?
No, sir.
Upon a plea of failure to maintain insurance on a motor vehicle required with Chapter 304, second offense, you shall pay a fine of $1,000 plus costs. Upon a guilty of receiving stolen property over $10,000, you shall receive a sentence of 7.5 years probated, however, for 5 years supervised. The defendant will enter and complete a long-term treatment facility to be scheduled by the defense and agreed upon by the Commonwealth. Have you scheduled such a facility yet, Counselor?
Yes, we have, Your Honor, and I've sent an agreed order over to Mr. Stockton, who is going to give it to the court today. She has a bed available today.
So are you in accord, Mr. Stockton?
I am. I've signed the order. We're going to tender it with the other orders we're presenting.
Okay, what is the court cost in this case? Court costs are $245. The fine is $1,000, so it'd be $1,245. Do you need some time to pay that, man?
Yes, sir. I'll be in treatment at least 6 months. So
Okay, well, I'll allow you to pay it at $100 a month. You should be able to do that, shouldn't you?
I'm not going to be able to work in long-term treatment. But I don't know how, I don't think so normally. But I mean, you can go ahead and schedule the payments.
Well, I don't want to schedule anything that you can't do.
Yeah, because in treatment, I know there's phases you do, and you can't work until like the last phase. So if I could get at least a few months head, you know what I'm saying, a head start, just at least see if I can get a job at where I'm going.
Okay, well, I will schedule you out 4 months from now.
Thank you.
Pay $100 a month toward your fine and court costs starting 120 days from now, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll sign the orders as they're submitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Erica Decker.
You got that?
Commonwealth versus Erica Decker. (20 CR 0067). Are you Erica Decker?
Yes, sir.
Born in 1986.
Yes, sir.
Last four digits social security number 1879.
Sir.
Okay, we're here. It says on the docket for a pretrial diversion revocation. Mr. Stockton, what do you have to say?
Your Honor, this is a 3-year sentence on possession. I'd like to have a brief hearing and let Mr. Collins testify. There's no agreement on this.
Hey, Jesse, we do stipulate to the violations and just want to make arguments in lieu of revocation if that helps. That's what we had talked about.
Well, I'll tell the court then, Your Honor, she was released from jail on April the 20th or 21st. She was given specific instructions to report to the Glasgow office. In April, she absconded, never reported. And that's our argument. We're asking she be revoked because she did not do the first thing to cooperate with probation parole.
Okay, what do you have, Counselor?
Your Honor, she would stipulate to the violations, but wishes to make arguments in lieu of revocation.
She wants to make a statement, is what you're saying?
No, she wishes for me to make arguments on her behalf in lieu of revocation.
Well, what do I know about the case? I don't know anything about, how can you make arguments if I don't know anything about it? You stipulated the violation. She didn't want to.
Well, you're under, I think under Andrews v. Commonwealth that while you can find that she is guilty of violating, the court still has to determine if she is going to be revoked or if there are alternatives to revocation.
I don't know anything about the case, is what I'm telling you. I mean, you can make an argument, but what factually would I base it upon other than she didn't comply? I mean, does she have a plan on what she wants to do? How can I know whether there's any less restrictive avenues unless I know some? But you go ahead and make your argument.
Your Honor, she is asking the court to consider a sanction at this time. She recognizes there must be a punishment for having not reported, but is asking the court to give her the opportunity for a sanction at this time and for her to return to supervision.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to revoke pretrial diversion and schedule a pre-sentence investigation report and sentencing for, I guess, probably can have it done by September 15th. Thank you very much. Brian Duggan. Commonwealth versus Brian Duggan, 17 CR 00111 and 17 CR 0082. Are you Brian Duggan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're here today on a probation revocation. What does the Commonwealth have to say?
Your Honor, Mr. Duggan has a 3-year sentence on possession and a 3-year sentence on burglary run concurrently. He was, as part of his plea, he was placed into the drug court program. He was terminated from drug court on or about July the 21st because he absconded from drug court. So we're asking for revocation. I think there is a stipulation.
Your Honor, there is a stipulation. I have spoken with Mr. Duggan. He wishes to stipulate to being revoked at this time.
Okay, well, I will revoke his probation and he served sentence is given. Okay, thank you very much. Dylan Ford. Commonwealth versus Dylan Ford. Are you Dylan Ford?
Yes, sir.
Born in 1991.
Yes, sir.
Last 4 digits, your social security number 8657.
That's correct.
Okay, we here on a 20 CR 007, 20 CR 008, and 21 CR 00118 for pretrial diversion revocation. What does the Commonwealth have to say?
Your Honor, Mr. Ford has a sentence from 3 cases of 5 years. That's a possession case in T-Butt. He has a new felony arrest for possession. He's also tested positive for meth and marijuana. I spoke to Mr. Collins about this. I hadn't spoke with Ms. McCorkle, but if he's willing to go into drug court and stay in custody until he's approved and oriented, I will go along with that if the court will.
And Your Honor, we have discussed that and he is agreeable to that.
Because it definitely appears he's got a substance abuse problem.
Yes, sir.
What are the most recent charges?
It was a new felony arrest, but the felony was another possession case, Your Honor, for meth. That was what he's tested positive for, and that's what he's got caught with. So it wasn't a trafficking case. If it's trafficking, I've been moving for revocation. It was a possession case.
What was he doing to his pretrial diversion? Would he go to drug court previously or what?
I completed a SAT program, Your Honor, and I was broke.
And Your Honor, regarding the new charge, there was a preliminary hearing on that. Judge Castillo did not find probable cause in some of the charges. Mr. Stockton and I have discussed that, and I think that was also part of how we came to the agreement regarding drug court.
Well, Mr. Ford, I'm gonna give you a chance here at drug court. I hope you take advantage of it. You know, you still got you still got an opportunity that some people don't get to avoid this felony conviction and turn your life around. So I'll sign the orders, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Ricky Hammer. Commonwealth versus Ricky Hammer, 21 CR 0059. Are you Ricky Hammer?
Yes, sir.
You born in 1985.
Yes, sir.
Last four digits of social security number 8588.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're here today on a probation revocation, Mr. Stockton. What do you have?
Your Honor, this was on for last month. And he's on for flagrant non-support 5 years. He has been working at Aquabono paying his support, but he got a new DUI charge. We had him assessed for drug court. He wasn't accepted because he had an assault charge on his record. They won't take anybody that has any assault charges. I told Miss Hunter that if the court's willing, I don't know if you might want to sanction him on home incarceration or SAP-IOP in order for him to keep paying his child support while this DUI is pending. But that's the only thing I could think of.
Was it a DUI first?
It was.
It was a mid-calf, or where was it?
Thought it was Barron.
Baron.
Barron County. Well, if you'll do the SAP, I give him a 90-day sanction in-home incarceration with an ankle bracelet on.
90 days? Is that 90 days at home?
You can work.
Okay.
You can work, go to church, go to the doctor.
Okay.
We'll have an ankle bracelet on you. The reason I'm putting the ankle bracelet on you is because you charged with DUI. And one of the worst things that bothers me is when someone's out on probation or parole and got the DUI. The reason I'm doing this is because your underlying case was not a substance abuse. It was a failure to make your child support payments.
Yes, sir.
But I will tell you that if you fool around and you have any other kind of DUI or use or anything like that, you're gone. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll sign the order and let them sign you up. Hopefully you can continue back to work and get lined back up, okay? The court call. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mark Hunter. Yes, you got something else?
Oh, yes.
Don't talk your way out. Don't talk your way out of this.
Ricky, he is agreeing to what you're wanting. So I would encourage you to not say a word.
I know. I'm just saying that I'm not getting released on the 23rd from Barron County. I just wanted to let him know that I can't get out today and get over.
Well, I can sign your release and then they'll hold it there. And when they release you over there, this will kick in, okay?
And then I go get my ankle monitor.
Yeah.
You will need to have your family make arrangements for someone to set it up at the jail. Okay. If you have questions, you can call my office. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Billy Key. Commonwealth versus Billy Key, 22 CR 0058. Are you Billy Key? Billy Key?
Yes, sir.
Morning, Judge Bruce Brown. This is my client. I just got this
22 CR 0058. Mr. Key, were you born in 1968?
Yes, sir.
Last four digits of your social security number?
7694.
Okay, we're here on a pretrial conference.
Judge, I've got the discovery of this case. I haven't had a chance to meet Mr. Stockton on it. I would ask for that September 9th.
Okay, the conference, the negotiation day is on the 9th, I believe, September 9th, and the next court date's on September 15th. Did I skip somebody on the docket? Who did I
Mark
skip?
Hunter.
Mark Hunter.
Yeah.
Mark Hunter.
That's it today?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Commonwealth versus Mark Hunter. Are you Mark Hunter?
Yes, sir.
Born in 1977.
Yes, sir.
Last four digits, social security number 8597.
Yes, sir.
You're on a pretrial conference and a motion for shock probation. What do you got,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Stockton?
It's a felony plea And as part of that felony plea, he'll take 1 year to serve consecutive to the 19 CR 114 for a
Okay,
total
so
of
this
6
is
years.
a felony plea?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Hunter, are you, a motion has been tendered today that says you wish to enter a guilty plea, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Is this plea freely and voluntarily given?
Yes, sir.
Are you the same person named in 22 CR 0053 and previously having been identified in 19 CR 00114?
Yes, sir.
Is your judgment impaired today in any way?
No, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to have to interrupt this plea just for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, we'll resume. Is your judgment impaired today in any way?
No, sir.
Have you discussed this matter with your attorney? Are you satisfied with the advice you received?
Yes, sir.
Have you viewed the evidence the Commonwealth has against you, and are you fully informed about your case?
Yes, sir.
You have certain rights under Kentucky and the United States Constitution. Before I can accept a plea, I need to know that you understand those rights. You have a right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. You have a right to speed trial by jury, the right to be representative counsel at your jury trial. You have a right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses called to testify against you, the right to produce evidence, the right to call witnesses in your favor, the right to appeal this matter to higher court if you lose, and the right to Commonwealth to require the Commonwealth to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of charges against you. You understand that by entering a plea of guilty today, you give up all those rights. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, I may consider the Commonwealth's recommendation, but I may apply any range of sentence provided by law. I do not have to accept the recommendation. In the event that I do not accept the Commonwealth's recommendation and decide to impose a harsher sentence, you have the right to withdraw your plea of guilty and to proceed to trial. Have you previously been diverted in the last 5 years?
This is a felony plea, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I was under the impression it was a diversion, so that won't, that question won't apply. Let's go straight to the recommendation.
Your Honor, Mr. Hunter will plead guilty to failure to comply with sex offender registry, first offense. It's an amendment from second offense. He'll receive a sentence of 1 year to serve. The 1 year shall run consecutively with Monroe indictment 19 CR 114. That's the case he filed the motion for shock in.
Yes.
The Commonwealth opposes probation and shock probation.
Okay.
So he'd have all that time to serve.
Okay, Counselor, you want to speak to that?
Your Honor, I apologize. The shock motion was filed before the agreement was reached in the new case. We would be withdrawing that motion. If we need to file on both of the cases later, we will do so.
Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, is he presently a state prisoner then?
That's why I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. He is a state prisoner. I haven't revoked him yet, so he's not a state prisoner. Previously revoked him. Yeah, that's right. So he had to have a shock. So I can waive the pre-sentence investigation report. Is this agreement what you reached to receive an additional year to change it from a second to a first? So what you agreed to, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you pleading guilty for your own free will because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, sir.
Okay, knowing your constitutional rights, is it still your desire that to enter this plea and allow me to fix the punishment?
Yes, sir.
You understand this plea could be used against you in future convictions to enhance your penalties under the law. Do you understand that?
Yes.
But Miss, do you have the plea agreement? Can you hold it? Is that your signature, sir, right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will accept the plea and waive the pre-sentence investigation report and sign the judgment today. Thank you very much. I guess we're on Brian McHugh now. Is that correct? Brian McHugh, sentencing. Are you Brian McHugh?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your year of birth, Mr. McHugh?
3869.
Last four digits of your social security number?
5121.
Okay, you're here today for sentencing. Have you had an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation and parole?
Yeah.
Is it substantially correct?
Everything but my jail credit.
Okay. Well, that's subject to your, if you think that's incorrect, they will recalculate that. Counselor, did you understand that?
I did, Your Honor, and I apologize, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Stockton this morning. This plea does require Mr. McHugh to enter into a treatment program upon release. The problem is he's currently being held in Barron County. He's a state inmate for a case out of there. We are refiling for shock within the next month on that case. Me and Mr. Stockton had an agreement to put the sentencing on next month. That way we have a better idea of when we can get him into that treatment program.
Well, it doesn't seem like you can get in the treatment program unless we delay it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, we'll
And
delay.
if he's not shocked, then we'll need to rework this plea, sounds like.
Okay, okay. Well, maybe you will be shocked and then we can go ahead and do this agreement. Let's put this sentencing off until September the 15th. If something happens before then, we could schedule a special sentencing. If he when is he up for shock over there?
Your Honor, I believe he still has roughly about 15 more days before we can refile. But I do really know that he comes up for parole eligibility in the middle of October. I think we should know at least a better idea of what's going to happen by that September date.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nathaniel Metter. Nathaniel Metter, 22 CR 0017. You're here today for sentencing.
Yes, sir.
Are you Nathaniel Metter? What's your year of birth, Mr. Metter?
0911.
Last four digits of your social security number.
2309.
You're here today for sentencing. Have you had an opportunity to look at the pre-sentence investigation report done by probation parole?
Yes, sir.
Is it substantially correct?
Everything jail credit. I was
Okay.
in here 3 days longer when they first got me on this charge. And I mean, I don't know if they put me in or what, but I was in the hole for the first 4 days.
Okay, Counselor, will you check on that for him as far as the appeal process on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there any reason this gentleman should not be sentenced
No, Your Honor.
on a plea of guilty to theft and unlawful taking over $1,000 to finish or receive a sentence of 5 years, served 90 days in jail, the balance probated for 5 years, supervised? The defendant shall be referred to social service clinician following recommendation. How many days has he been in there according to the report here?
I believe it was 85 days, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, he'll kill it in about 5 days, one way or the other. What is the court cost in here? $215. Well, you need some time to pay that when you get out, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can start making your first payment at $30 a month, 30 days after you get out. That ought to give you opportunity to get on your feet.
Yeah.
A little bit. All the evidence will be destroyed. It's illegal. You shall obtain employment. When does he go to probation pro? Which office will he go to? Glasgow? You live in Glasgow, sir, or where you live?
I live in Tompkinsville.
Tompkinsville. Well,
Mr. Collins said he'd get word to him at the jail when he needed to report, since he had a
okay.
little time.
He's just not gonna be over there to jail very much longer. So the probation pro officer will be in contact with you. Tell you when you got to get up with him to set up your supervision.
Mr. Collins said next Wednesday at 9 o'clock at the Glasgow office, if he's released.
Okay, you be next Wednesday at 9 o'clock at the Glasgow probation pro.
I'm
office.
sorry, Tompkinsville off here at the Justice.
Tompkinsville.
I'm sorry.
Next Wednesday at the Tompkinsville office. You understand that, sir?
Sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Jerry Mosby. Jerry Mosby.
And this, you're talking about.
Commonwealth versus Jerry Mosby. 17 CR 0011. You Jerry Mosby,
Yes, Your Honor.
born in 1959.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your social security number is 6667. You're here on a shock probation revocation.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Stockton. Mr. Stockton.
Honor, Mr. Bosby quit reporting, and then somebody was sending in his paperwork saying by mail that he was living in the address that he wasn't living at. We've dealt with Mr. Mosby before. He was in Mr. Hunter can explain it better. He was in a personal care home or something. And I think we just need to get Mr. Mosby lined up in his new residence, because I don't know that he's capable of taking care of himself.
Yes, Your Honor. Somebody at the personal care home was filling out his paperwork, and then he was told he could leave the personal care home and is now at a senior living facility. And I talked with Mr. Stockton about trying to get more information regarding that to Mr. Stockton and seeing about putting Mr. Mosby on for the settlement conference to allow me to do that.
Okay, well, settlement conference is on the 9th. Is that correct? September 9th, and I'll be glad to sign, if you reach an agreement, sign an agreed order.
Judge, could we, and I think, I don't know if Mr. Stockton has strong feelings, would the court be agreeable to releasing him pending that date, given that someone?
Where's he gonna stay?
He is a senior living facility in Bowling Green that has healthcare provided to him. He could provide the address for.
Who's gonna transport him over there?
I'll have my family to take me down there today. My sister lives here in Glasgow.
And what was the violation, Mr. Stockton? Just failure to report.
He'd been put on mail-in reporting, and he was staying at this Rosedale place, and evidently somebody was sending in the paperwork for him, and they didn't change the address. So when the probation officer tried to contact him, then he wasn't living there. He'd moved to this other personal care home. I don't think he was trying to abscond or anybody. He just
Okay, well, I'll let him, if a family member comes and gets him, they can transport him back over there, and then y'all can conference about it on the 9th. I don't think you want him present at the conference, or?
No, if he can just be available via phone, that's what Mr. Stockton and I agreed to. And if he could, they have my cards at the jail, so he could take one of my cards and just check in with me tomorrow.
Okay, Jerry, you call your attorney tomorrow, and I'll let a family member take you over there, that place, and then they'll call you. You'll be available on the phone on September 9th, okay?
Yes, so I can leave tomorrow.
Well, you can leave today if you give somebody to pick you up. If
Right,
you'd rather
that's-
wait till tomorrow, you might not want to miss dinner.
No, I need to go home today. My door's open.
Okay,
Recently got married.
Hey, yeah, Jerry, he's letting you go. Okay.
congratulations.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Congratulations,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Miss Hunter, you'll need to make sure Mr. Collins knows where he's going to.
Okay, I have the information. I'll give it to Chase before I leave.
Okay, Kimmy Nafong, Kimmy Nafong. Do we have Kimmy Nafong there?
Yes, Your Honor, here's him.
Commonwealth versus Kimmy Nafong, 21 CR 00115. Are you Tammy Nafong?
Yes, sir.
You born in 2000?
Yes, sir.
Last four digits, social security number 8654.
Yes, sir.
You're here today for the purpose of arraignment. You have the right to remain silent, okay?
Yes, sir.
The grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment charging you possession of drugs, paraphernalia, and possession of a controlled substance in the first degree. You understand those charges?
Yes, sir.
Counselor Dale is laying these charges on your desk here. Do you acknowledge the identity of your client, receive the indictment, waive formal reading, arraignment, enter plea not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we schedule Ms. Nafong for a conference on the 9th, and the next court date would be on the 15th. Okay, now what's your bond situation?
$15,000 cash, sir.
Yes, sir. It's $15,000 cash.
Okay, what is it? What kind of record does she have, or does she have other charges pending, or what's the deal?
I looked. She had a Cumberland County charge. Looks like she may have been ROR on that. Her FTA score is low, and her reoffending score was a moderate.
Well, there's some reason there's a case there. Did she have a case pending, Mr. Stockton, or what is it?
Not that I'm aware of in this jurisdiction. We had to put her in NCIC in December of 21.
That's what the deal is then. She was in CIC, came back. Was she?
I got picked up.
Yes, she was. So she was had an FTA then in 2021.
I think she was placed in there. I don't know that she'd ever been to court. That was based on the indictment warrant.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I did go to court.
It appears in district she had gone to court, Your Honor.
Court
Yeah,
that
she
shows
went to
security
court.
bond. Will you check that again, Mike? Look at where's the file?
Pre-trial monitoring, 24-hour curfew, drug and alcohol, standard conditions, market approved surety bond for $15,000.
What's it show?
That was the original bond.
That's the original.
Says 15,000 clerk approved surety is what it has on there. It's not a cash bond.
Okay, changed.
Pardon?
I can get it changed. I'm
It
not
doesn't
sure.
need to be changed. It's a clerk approved surety. I don't have any problem with that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So Cammy, what that means is someone could sign you out if they are approved via the clerk.
What does that mean?
Somebody can come to the clerk's office and prove to the clerk that they're worth $15,000. They can sign the bond. You can walk. There, you have a 24-hour curfew. You have to give us an address in Kentucky where you're going to be. You can leave there if you go to work, a religious service, medical appointment, or court appearances. You're subject to random drug tests and alcohol tests and all of the standard procedures, conditions like not violating the law. So you get somebody to come to the clerk's office in Monroe County, signs your bond. And you're out of there. And then you'll have to come back here on the 9th for negotiation, and on the 15th for your next court date. Okay?
Okay, I have a question. Does that mean that somebody can come and sign it? They just have to sign their name?
They have to come to the clerk's office and prove to the clerk that that they're worth the amount of the bond, $15,000, that they've got some property, they got a car, they got a bank account. If they convince the clerk, they can sign it, but they're responsible for the bond. Okay?
So can I ask you another question? I don't have anybody that has any property in my family. Is there any way you can?
No, they don't have to have any real estate or anything. They can have 2 cars or 3 cars or whatever. But you're going to have a bond, since we had to put you in NCIC. Now we can have a bond hearing after you talk to your attorney. Okay. Thank you very much. Eddie Ryherd. Commonwealth versus Eddie Ryherd, 20 CR 0066 and 22 CR 0052. 52 is for an arraignment. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You're represented by counsel. Here, the grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment charging you with theft of mail and being a persistent felony offender. You understand that charge? You understand what the charge is?
Yeah.
Okay. Counselor, I laid the indictment on your desk. You acknowledge the receipt of the indictment, identity of your client, waive formal reading, arraignment, enter plea of not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions. We'll
Yes, Your
set
Honor.
this on negotiation on the 5th and on the 9th rather, and on next court appearance on the 15th, the 9th and the 15th. And I'm not going to act upon probation revocation yet, Mr. Stockton, until we do that. Let you negotiate, okay?
That'll be fine.
Okay. German Serrano.
Excuse me, sir. Is there any way you can lower my bond?
You have to talk to your attorney. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. German Serrano. Are you German Serrano?
Yes, sir.
We have a pretrial conference on 22 CR 0059 and also 21 CR 0029. Do y'all have a resolution to this case?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a felony plea.
Okay. Mr. Serrano, a motion has been tendered that says you wish to enter a felony plea. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Is this plea freely and voluntarily given?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you the same person indicted in 22 CR 0059 and previously placed on probation in 21 CR 0029? That's you?
Yes, sir.
Is your judgment impaired in any way today?
No, sir.
Have you discussed this matter with your attorney and are you satisfied with her advice?
Yes, sir.
Have you had plenty of time to review the evidence that the Commonwealth has against you? You feel you're fully informed about your case?
Yes, sir.
You have certain rights under the Kentucky and United States Constitution. Before I can accept a plea, I need to know that you understand those rights. I'm going to go over the rights, then I'm going to ask you to acknowledge that you understand it. You have a right not to testify against yourself. No one can make you say anything. Your right to speak trial by jury. The right to be represented by counsel at your jury trial. Right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses called to testify against you. The right to produce evidence, the right to call witnesses in your favor, the right to appeal this matter to higher court if you lose, the right to part of the Commonwealth to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty and charged against you. You understand that by entering a plea of guilty today, you give up all of those rights. Now, I may consider the Commonwealth's recommendation, but I may apply any range of sentence provided by the law. I do not accept the recommendation. Prior to accepting that, I will inform you however, I look at the pre-sentence investigation report. In the event that I do not accept the recommendation, I'll inform you of such. You can withdraw your plea if you desire and go to trial. What is the Commonwealth's recommendation?
Your Honor, Mr. Serrano would plead guilty to driving under the influence, 4th offense. He would have 1 year to serve. The 1 year sentence shall run consecutively with Monroe indictment number 21 CR 29, which is a 10-year sentence on burglary, which he will be revoked on. The Commonwealth proposes probation and shock probation.
Is that what you agreed to, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you pleading guilty because you did commit the acts charged in the indictment or the indictment as amended?
Yes, sir.
And knowing your constitutional rights have been explained to us, it's still your desire, give up those rights, enter a guilty plea to the charges and allow the court to fix your punishment.
Yes, sir.
He's not a state prisoner then, is he? Is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
It will order a pre-sentence investigation report to be done by probation and parole, and you'll be back here on September 15th for sentencing. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. David Teach Out.
Hey, Ron.
Commonwealth versus David Teach Out. 21 CR 0095. Pretrial diversion revocation. Sir, were you born in 1983?
Yes, sir.
What are the last four digits of your social security number?
09 or 0623.
Okay, what do you have, Mr. Stockton?
McCorkle's still on the line. I'd like her to explain this, if she would testify.
You raise your right hand, Mr. McCorkle. Swear testimony about to give us the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Okay, state your name with whom you're employed.
Chastity McCorkle, probation and parole.
Okay, Mr. Stockton, you may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. McCorkle, have you been supervising Mr. Teach Out?
Yes, sir.
And when did that begin?
November the 10th of 2021, he was placed on pretrial diversion for 5 years.
Okay. And have you been his officer during that time?
Yes, sir. The case was transferred to me actually on the date of January the 11th, and I have had him solely since that time.
Okay. Since January the 11th, was he placed in custody at some point in time where he couldn't be supervised?
He was in custody for another matter, yes, sir, from April the 27th to June the 25th.
Okay. Once he was released from custody, June the 25th, has he reported to you?
He reported one time on June the 29th.
Okay. And then what difficulty have you had with him since?
On June the 29th, he was given a next report day of July the 20th. And when he missed that report date, I started attempting to make contact with him on the dates of July 21st, July 26th, July 27th, July 29th. I attempted phone contact, was unable to reach him. On July the 28th, the Sheriff's Department did a courtesy home visit for me and went to the last address that he had reported. That
was Deputy David Luntz from Monroe County?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it was.
That's all right.
And that he reported that the apartment was vacant at that time. So on July the 29th, I had checked all the jails in the state and the local hospitals here in Glasgow and in Monroe County, and the subject could not be located. And at that time, that's when I asked for the warrant for absconding.
Okay. As part of his plea, he was supposed to pay a $500 fine on no insurance. Has he paid anything on his fines and court costs?
On July the 29th, the clerk's office advised that he owed $765 total to the court, and there have been no payments made.
Okay. I don't have anything else, Your Honor.
Would you like to inquire, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer, you said that his report date that he missed was July 20th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are you aware that he was picked up on August 10th?
On the warrant?
Yes, that he was.
Yes, ma'am. I knew when he was picked up and in custody. Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
No redirect, Your Honor. No other evidence.
Okay. Mr. Stockton, what do you want to do here?
Well, I was going to ask for a sanction, but it appears to me since November of last year when he was placed on supervision, Mr. Teachout hadn't made any effort to pay any fines or court costs in this case. And then when he gets out of jail, he reports one time and goes AWOL. So if that's going to be his
Your Honor,
attitude,
if I could take some testimony from my client to help?
Well, that'd be good. I think it would be illuminate us a little bit. Sir, you want to raise your right hand? Swear testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Go ahead.
Your Honor, when I had got my.
No, Mr. Teachout, you have to listen to my questions and answer them. You don't get to just speak, okay? And the same goes when if Mr. Stockton chooses to cross-examine you, it is the same procedure, okay? Okay. So, Mr. Teachout, were you having any financial difficulties in June and July of 2022?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Were you having any housing difficulties during that time?
Yes, I was.
Okay, could you tell me about that?
When I had gotten out of custody in June, I was staying with a friend and I didn't know it, but when I was staying with her, we were evicted from the premises. We had 72 hours to leave. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. There was a big misunderstanding. I was not trying to run from probation or parole. I just recently got a job taking care of Pitt's Motel and her property the day that I was arrested on this charge. I've also had family in New York say that they would help me if I was able to transfer my probation. Which I don't.
I have no further questions for Mr. Teachout.
Mr. Teachout, have you had a job since you were out of jail in November of last year?
I was supposed to start work at yes, I did, yes.
What was your job from November to April of this year?
I was working for Andrew Page.
What kind of work were you doing?
We were doing mowing, we did landscaping, we did plumbing.
Okay. Was that a full-time job?
Most of the time I got 30 hours a week.
You didn't go back to him after you got out of jail?
No, when I got out of jail, he had terminated me.
Is there anything wrong with you where you can't work?
No, sir, I can work.
Did you work at a factory job where it'd be full-time?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. Why haven't you done so?
I don't have a driver's license, so it's hard for me to get around here.
Okay. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, what do you say, Mr. Stockton?
I'll go along with whatever the court wants. If he is released, I want him to get a regular public job and start paying on this and get his life in order and start.
You have a
reporting.
place, you have a place to stay,
Yes,
Mr.
sir, I do.
Teachout.
Yes, sir, I do.
Where would that be?
It'd be with a friend of mine, Simpson Apartments. I give you this and her name. It's very lively.
It's here in
Monroe
Tompkins.
County. Yes, sir. She's going
Okay,
to.
well, what I'm gonna do is the time you spend in, I'm gonna use as a sanction. When do you want him to report to you? If he gets out of jail today, when can he report to you?
Can he report to the Glasgow office in the morning, Your Honor? 9 a.m.
Okay, I'm gonna let you out in the morning at 8 a.m., okay? Have somebody pick you up over there and bring you to the Glasgow office at 9 a.m. You make your arrangements, give the probation parole officer your location, where you're gonna be, and a good phone number to get you on, and then go get you a job, okay?
Yes, sir, I appreciate that, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, Shasta Vaughn. Shasta Vaughn. Are you Shasta Vaughn?
Yes, sir.
This is 22 CR 00055. You born in 1987?
Yes, sir.
What are the last four digits of your social security number?
3221.
You're represented by Mr. Garrett. Is this a superseding or a subsequent indictment? Is that what this is?
It's a supplemental indictment, yeah.
Okay.
PFO.
You have a right to remain silent. The grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment, Ms. Vaughn, charging you with being a persistent felony offender, KRS 532.080 on the charges of wanton endangerment, criminal attempt to commit murder, and fleeing or evading police. You understand those charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you acknowledge the identity of your client, receive the indictment, the indictments in the courtroom, Mr.
I do.
Garrett.
I do.
You're not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions. Now, how is the underlying case on this advancing, Mr. Stockton? You
It
need
hadn't yet. We need to meet probably September the 9th on this case.
September the 9th will be the negotiation day, and the next court appearance on all of these will be on September 15th.
Thank you.
Okay. Brian Walker. Brian Walker. Are you Brian Walker?
Yes, sir.
You're here for purpose of arraignment in 22 CR 0065. You have the right to remain silent. Were you born in 1983?
Yes, sir.
Last four digits is social security number 7297.
Sir.
Now, you don't have an attorney listed here. Are you going to have a private attorney?
No, sir. I'd like to ask a point one, at least before I.
Did you have one in district court?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'll continue that appointment subject to the proper affidavit being in the record. Your attorney is online here. You see her. The grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment charging you with criminal mischief in the first degree, a burglary in the third degree, and being a persistent felony offender to both of those charges. You understand those charges? Counselor, I'm placing the indictment on your desk here. You acknowledge the identity of your client, receive the indictment, waive formal reading and arraignment, enter a plea of not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions. Okay,
Yes,
we will you be scheduled for the first settlement conference on September 9th, and on September 15th, you'll have your next court date, okay? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now was there someone that we thought, is there someone else over there? Did we have
Portia?
Terrain Portia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, can I say something about my bond?
You'll need to talk to your attorney. You're charged with 2 counts of being persistent felony offender, so you'll need to talk to your attorney, and if she can reach an agreement with the Commonwealth, I'll consider it, okay?
Okay, I was just wondering what my bond was.
What is the bond listed there? We'll find out. Hold on a second. What? Yes. It's 10,000 cash or property. So somebody can make a property bond if they want to get you out. Okay.
So,
Okay,
okay, so I can post bond today?
If you come to the clerk's office in Monroe County, somebody can bring 10,000 cash to the jail, I guess, but probably better to come to Monroe County and have somebody make the bond for you. Okay.
I can make a property bond.
Well, let somebody do that for you. Come over here. They'll have to go through the steps of it. They're certain you have to have copies of deeds and this and that. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vegas Thompson, is that her?
Now we're back to Terrain Portia. Is that how you pronounce your name? Portia? Portia, okay. You're here today for the purpose of arraignment. Mr. Portia, were you born in 1983?
Yes, sir.
Last four digits, your social security number 1296.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have a right to remain silent. You don't have an attorney. Can you afford an attorney? Do you have money to pay for an attorney, or do you want me to appoint the public defender? Okay, well, we'll need to have an affidavit filled out on that. So, this gentleman, the grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment. You have the right to remain silent now, sir. The grand jury of Monroe County has returned an indictment charging you with operating a motor vehicle and revoked, suspended driving under the influence, third or subsequent offense, and failure to comply with sex offender law, first offense. Do you understand those charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Counselor, I'm laying the document out on your indictment. You acknowledge the identity of your client, receive the indictment, wait for more reading and arraignment, enter a plea of not guilty, reserving all pretrial motions.
Yes, Your Honor.
This gentleman shall report or shall be available on September 7th for negotiation and September 15th for the next court date. Okay? Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in the jail over there? Is that it?
That's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for your cooperation. Have a great day.
Y'all gotta wait for me. I'm done in court.